And this has worked for me, this has worked for my friends that's broken the mile as well. Just for our first time, it worked for us that way. Hey guys, what's going on? It's Vedant. Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be talking about going sub-5 in the mile. Just a little background. My name is Vedant. I'm 15 years old and I broke 5 minutes in the mile when I was about 13 years old. Not a flex or anything, but I wanted to share with you guys how you can do the same thing if that's the result you're trying to achieve or if you're just trying to get faster in the mile. So let's get into the video. So I took some notes for a couple hours on how I did this, and I'm going to be breaking it down by my experience with breaking 5, the training system, mileage, base training, interval training, tapering, and some good workouts you could do. I know I'm looking at this place right here, but that's just where my notes are. So my experience with breaking 5, I was 13 years old when I broke 5. It was after my 8th grade cross country season. I ran a 10:41 for the 2 mile, and it was like shortly after that. I ran a 4:55 and I was on about 25 to 30 miles a week, so not too much, but it's definitely a decent amount for a middle schooler. And I had been running pretty seriously for a couple of years by then. But something I do want to remark, you do not have to be talented to run these times. I think running is just a lot of hard work, and I definitely put hard work into this, and I think you guys can too if you want to achieve something like this. So the training system was the Jack Daniels running formula. This is what I used to train. You guys should buy this book because this is basically what I'm going over in this short video, but there's a lot of information in this book that's really useful. I think this book would be really helpful for you guys to pick up, so yeah, that's just the book that I'm using. Basically, the premise of this book was to achieve the maximum benefit while using the minimum amount of effort into training. So for me personally, after being in high school and training, I found that this training system was a lot easier and it did achieve some pretty good results. Next, let's talk about mileage. I think you can break 5 at minimum of 20 miles a week, but that's something I really wouldn't recommend unless you're doing a lot of sprinting and that kind of training. But the mile is a really aerobic race, so you do need to have some sort of aerobic base in order to run well in this event. So if you're in middle school, I recommend doing about 30 miles a week or less, and for high schoolers, I'd recommend 40 to 70 miles a week for this mile training system. I think that's really what works best. But see what you can handle. There's no perfect mileage for everyone, so you just kind of have to go with what your body says. I do recommend running 7 days a week unless you have had like a lot of experience with injury. Otherwise, I would take 5 days a week of running, and then the other 2 days I'd just be cross training. But in most cases, more mileage is the better option. Alright, so let's talk about some base training tips for going sub-5. So for the most part, a lot of your mileage is just going to be easy running, non-timed running, and you'll have strides after your runs, and they don't have to be, that long. You're essentially just trying to reach the mileage for that week. So according to this book and my personal experience, a good pace to run if you're in that sub-5 shape would be a 7:30, but you can also go faster than that and slower than that. I'd say about by 30 seconds is a good, time frame of where your easy runs should be. Each week you're gonna have 3 different runs, and we're gonna go over each one of them. The first one being the long run. Your long run should be about 20 to 25% of your weekly mileage. It's at, an easy pace for you, whatever feels comfortable and sustainable. Always make sure that you do not stop on your long runs because that's how you maximize the benefit of them, and then add some strides after that. So that's workout number 1 of the week, just the long run, easy stuff. Workout number 2 is going to be an M run, and basically an M paced run is 20 to 30 seconds faster than your long run pace or your easy run pace. So it's not really that fast quite yet, but it is, sort of fast where it gets your heart rate up a little more, and it's a little less mileage than your long run. So it's probably going to be 1 to 2 miles less than what your long run is currently. So the third quality workout of the week is basically the same mileage as your M run, but you split the M run in half, like the amount of mileage, but it's just easy running. So your first half is just going to be easy running, then you can do some strides in between, and then just some more easy running. I know that can sound a little confusing, but I'll get into an example of what that looks like right now. So an example, if you're doing 45 miles a week, you do a 10-mile long run with strides after that, and then you're gonna do a 7-mile run. Your first 3 miles would be easy running, and then your next 4 is going to be M pace. So you're gonna go 20 to 30 seconds faster per mile when you're going M pace, and then finish up with 8 strides. Your third workout of the week would be just 3 miles easy, 8 strides, and then another 2 miles easy, so 5 miles. It's not that that much running. And then all the other days of the week are just going to be easy runs, you know, non-timed running, and just try to hit your mileage. And for strides, you want to add around 6 to 8. So that's what I did. My mistake when I was doing base training was that I would only run 5 days a week, which actually this was kind of the whole thing. I would only run 5 days a week, and I wasn't consistent about which days I wanted to have my harder runs on. Consistency is key, so if you want to break 5, you have to be consistent. So be sure to maintain a consistent schedule of working out when you're doing this. So you want to stay on base training for another 4 to 6 weeks typically, and once you're done with base training, then we move on to the beginning of interval training. So on intervals, you're still going to keep your long run. It's going to be about 25% of your weekly mileage, but now we're going to add in some 200 and 400 meter repeat workouts. And these workouts are going to be at the race pace, and ideally if you're trying to break 5, your race pace is going to be sub 5 minute pace. So that's around 74 seconds per lap for the 400 or 37 seconds per 200 that you're running. So when planning out your week, it's also best to put 2 easy days in between each workout session. So let me give you an example of what a week would look like. So on Sunday you'd have your long run, Monday you'd have an easy run, Tuesday you'd also have an easy run, Wednesday you would have an interval track workout session, Thursday you would have an easy run, Friday you would have an easy run, and then Saturday you'd have track interval workout session. Now I know this is a lot of information to take in, but just please bear with me. This is why you probably need the book. It's a lot of stuff to comprehend, so if you need to watch this again, please feel free to do so. So for the beginning of intervals, these workouts should not be all out. In fact, you should feel like you have some reserved to do more, but don't do more, just keep it as is. So a good example for 30 miles a week would be 8 by 200s with 200 meter jog, and then each 200 meter repeat you're trying to hit 37 seconds. And you also want to add some mileage before and after your workout, so you get up, you know, decent mileage, so then you won't have to compensate for your easy days of running, you know, a ton of miles, right? So I'm going to give you guys another example of 45 miles a week. This would look like 2 miles of easy running, 12 200s at race pace with 200 meter jog, plus another 1 mile of easy running, and then 2 400s at mile goal pace with 400 meter jog in between each one, and then 2 easy miles. And that would wrap up your workout. You're trying to do a lot of 200 meter workouts, 400s, and 600s when you're getting into interval training, and you basically want to stay between the 200 and the 600 meter zone, and you want to do your workouts at race pace. So race pace meaning sub 5 minute pace. Let's do a quick recap of phase 1. So in phase 1, you're going to have 3 workouts in your week, although these workouts aren't going to be too difficult. You're going to have a long run, which should be about 25% of your weekly mileage done at an easy pace, so probably around a 7:30 pace. And then you're going to have a medium run, but at a faster pace, like 20 to 30 seconds faster than your long run pace, and it should be around like 15 to 20% of your weekly mileage. And then you're going to have a shorter run, but you're going to have strides in between. This should be about 15% of your weekly mileage for the shorter run. So altogether, it should be about 60% of your weekly mileage in these 3 workouts. And then the rest of the week, you're going to do easy runs or maybe cross train if you need to. Be sure to add strides after the workouts, and that's basically all you need to do for phase 1. Just easy base building, try to get to the highest mileage you can, but nice aerobic training. Now let's recap over phase 2. Phase 2, you're going to add in some interval workouts. So instead of doing your medium run and your shorter run, now you're going to add in some interval workouts. So you're going to be doing some 200s, some 400s, and some 600 repeats, all at race pace. And race pace is sub 5 pace, because that's your goal if you're watching this video most likely. So you're going to be going 74 seconds per lap. So that'd be 37 seconds per 200, 1 minute and 51 seconds for your 600. So you just got to keep those splits in mind whenever you're doing these kinds of workouts. But yeah, it's going to be a little change of pace, and you're going to add in some strides on your easy runs every once in a while. So make sure you know you're doing 1 long run and then 2 track workouts, and that's basically how phase 2 works. Now let's talk about phase 3. So phase 3, you're going to keep around the same intensity, but now you're going to start sprinkling in some interval workouts. So you're going to be doing some 800 meter repeats and 1K repeats, and just add these into your regimen, but you're still going to be doing about 3 workouts a week. So at this point, you know, you could keep the long run in if you wanted to, or you could just take it out and do some track work. That's kind of up to you. Add in the 800 and 1K repeats, but you're not going to be doing these at race pace. Since they're a bit of a long distance, you're going to be doing these at interval pace. Now interval pace, according to the book that, you know, I've been using for sub 5 miles, milers is going to be 81 seconds per 400 meters. So let's say you're running an 800, you're going to be running that in 2:42. If you're going to be running a 1K repeat, that should be like a 3:23. Correct me if I'm wrong. So you're going to be doing interval repeats, and then you might add in some threshold miles. When you're running these threshold miles, basically helps by expanding on how far you can go without producing any lactic acid. That's obviously really great for the mile. If you're trying to run a sub-5 mile, I'd recommend doing these at about 5:54 pace. That's just what it says in the book, but obviously you also want to take into consideration how you feel while doing these workouts. You don't want to be like trying way too hard and feeling lactic acid when you're doing these repeats, right? So yeah, that's basically phase 3. Phase 4, not much is changing except for the volume. You're going to be tapering at this point of your season, which means that you're going to have less volume to your workouts. It's going to be a little easier, but the intensity is still going to stay the same. Yeah, that's just the purpose of phase 4. So now that we got training covered, let's talk about the race itself. The splits for the race, obviously the most effective way and most efficient way to running a mile is basically just by even splitting. So you want to go like 74, 75, 75, 75 or something like that, but I've always found that for some reason running a 222 at the 800 always works for me. When I tried to break the mile for the first time, I ran a 222 at the 800 and I just closed with whatever I had. And this has worked for me, this has worked for my friends that's broken the mile as well. Just for our first time, it worked for us that way. It might not be the most effective way for everyone, but certainly something to consider. It's just been like the golden split for all of us for some reason. So yeah, there's kind of two ways of going about it. But yeah, that's all there is really to the race. It's good to have someone to race against you or a pacer. With that being said, if you guys found this information helpful, please be sure to like and subscribe, leave a comment down below or respond to my comment down below. And yeah, I'll see you guys next time. Go watch my videos on the screen somewhere, and I'll see you guys next time. That was really cringe. Alright.